Thousands of years ago, long before the rise of modern machines, lasers, GPS systems, and asphalt technology, one ancient civilization carved lines across the world so straight, so precise, and so durable that many of them still exist today. These were not ordinary paths meant for casual travel. They were the engineered arteries of an expanding superpower. At a time when most of Europe was choked with dense forests, deep marshes, and rugged mountains, the Romans created a network of roads so advanced that modern engineers still struggled to explain how such precision was possible with the tools of antiquity. These roads did not merely connect cities, they connected the empire's lifeblood, its soldiers, its information, its trade, and its identity. What most people don't realize is that Roman roads were never designed for the convenience of ordinary citizens. Their primary purpose was war. Every slab of stone, every trench, every mile was created to allow the Roman legions to move with terrifying speed. The faster the legions moved, the more effectively Rome crushed rebellions, reinforced borders, and responded to threats. In the ancient world, where time could determine the fate of entire provinces, these roads were strategic weapons as important as swords and shields. A rebellion in Gaul or Judea could only be stopped if reinforcements arrived quickly. And nothing made this possible except the straight, reliable, unbroken roads built by the armies themselves. This idea, straightness above all, was sacred. The Romans refused to weave their roads around hills or forests the way other civilizations did. Instead, they cut through mountains, drained swamps, and built massive embankments over riverside marshes. To a Roman engineer, a curved road was wasted time, wasted effort, and wasted military potential. Every unnecessary bend increased travel time, and the empire could not afford delays. Straightness was power. But who exactly built these colossal constructions stretching thousands of kilometers? Surprisingly, it wasn't slaves. The backbone of Roman road construction was the legionaries themselves, soldiers trained not only to fight, but also to build. In times of peace, their weapon became the pickaxe. Their discipline, order, and synchronized labor transformed them into one of the most efficient construction forces in human history.
Speed up
Every legion included surveyors, carpenters, masons, and engineers capable of carrying out tasks that would require entire specialized teams today. To lay out a perfectly straight road through landscapes filled with obstacles, the Romans relied on an ingenious tool called the groma. It looked simple: a vertical pole with a cross-shaped frame and hanging plumb lines. But in skilled hands, it became a miracle of precision. Surveyors aligned the plumb lines with distant markers, creating a perfect straight vector that could be extended for miles. On uneven terrain, smoke signals and hilltop fires acted as visual anchors. For measuring slope, they used the chorobates, essentially a gigantic water level, ensuring that the road always had perfect drainage. And for solving difficult angles or complex measurements needed in tunnels and bridges, they used the dioptra, the ancestor of the modern theodolite. Once the route was set, construction began. The first step was the trench, sometimes as deep as a man's height. Into it went the statumen, large stones forming a stable, drained foundation. Above that, the rutrum layer of gravel and lime was carefully compacted. Then came the nucleus, a fine concrete mix that hardened into a smooth base. Finally, the top layer, enormous stone slabs fitted so precisely that in many places, not even a blade of grass can grow between them. The raised convex surface allowed rainwater to flow into drainage ditches, preventing the erosion that destroys most modern roads. The genius of this layered structure is the reason Roman roads have survived battles, storms, floods, and centuries of changing empires. Modern roads crack in a decade. Roman roads survived 2 millennia. But the brilliance of Roman engineering didn't end with the surface. When their straight lines encountered obstacles, the Romans didn't compromise. Instead, they innovated,
34 degrees,
cutting through rock with fire, heating stone until it fractured under cold water, allowed them to pierce mountains.
We are ready
In marshes, they built floating foundations of logs. When rivers blocked their path, they constructed stone arch bridges so strong that some still stand today, outliving modern concrete structures built beside them.
I knew we could do it.
This absolute refusal to surrender to the landscape, to bend, to yield, or to settle for good enough, was the essence of Roman engineering. Every road was a declaration of power. Rome bends the world. The world does not bend Rome, yet these roads were not just military corridors. Once built, they transformed the empire economically. Goods from Spain, Gaul, Africa, and Asia Minor traveled effortlessly. Ordinary farmers could sell their products hundreds of kilometers away. Cities grew around intersections. Trade flourished. Ideas, languages, and beliefs spread as easily as soldiers. The roads unified an empire of millions, turning distant, diverse provinces into a single living organism. The infrastructure didn't stop at the road itself.
Keep pulling.
Mile markers, cylindrical stone pillars, told travelers the exact distance to major cities. State-run inns allowed imperial messengers to change horses and continue without delay. Military patrols kept the roads safe. Regular maintenance kept them functional. No other ancient civilization created such an organized system. Without it, Rome would not have been Rome. But even the greatest roads required enormous investment, materials, labor, and strict oversight from engineers and officials. And for centuries, the empire paid that price willingly, understanding that roads were the backbone of Roman dominance. Without them, the legions would slow, communication would collapse, trade would falter, and the empire's grip would weaken. In the next part, we will explore the deeper costs of these roads, their maintenance, their symbolic meaning, their long-term impact on Europe, and why, even after Rome fell, these ancient stone paths refused to die. Even after the last Roman legions marched across Europe, the roads they built continued to shape civilization. Medieval kings, merchants, monks, crusaders, and entire migrating peoples traveled along the same stones, laid by legionaries centuries earlier. Many European highways today follow the exact paths of Roman roads because no better route could be found. The Romans had already chosen the most logical, most efficient, and most geographically strategic lines. Their work was so definitive that later generations simply built on top of it. But behind this eternal legacy was a hidden price. Maintaining such a massive network required constant labor. Every year, sections had to be cleared, resealed, drains cleaned, and stones replaced. This became increasingly difficult as the empire grew larger and resources spread thinner. When Rome was wealthy and powerful, maintenance posed no threat. But during economic decline, civil wars, and barbarian invasions, less money and manpower were available for upkeep. Sections of roads began to crumble. Drainage ditches clogged, bridges weakened, the arteries of the empire slowed. And as the roads fell into disrepair, so did Rome's ability to respond rapidly to crises. Ironically, the very roads that once protected Rome later helped invaders enter the heart of the empire. Germanic armies, unfamiliar with the landscape, followed Roman roads directly toward undefended cities. Roads once used to suppress rebellion were now used to dismantle the empire itself. The infrastructure that enabled Rome's rise also contributed to its collapse. Yet even after Rome's political structure disappeared, the engineering principles behind its roads endured. Their multi-layer system, their obsession with drainage, their use of concrete mixed with volcanic ash. These ideas resurfaced centuries later in modern engineering. In fact, recent scientific studies show that Roman concrete becomes stronger over time because its crystal structure continues to bind and repair micro cracks naturally. Modern concrete breaks down within decades. Roman concrete is self-healing. But beyond engineering, Roman roads reshaped Europe culturally. They spread Latin, which evolved into modern Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian. They spread Christianity, which spread from province to province. Along the same routes legionaries once marched. They allowed technology, law, art, and philosophy to travel at a pace unmatched until the Industrial Revolution. The roads didn't just carry soldiers and goods, they carried transformation. Consider the profound symbolism of these stone paths. To walk a Roman road today is to walk the same ground where millions before you walked. Generals, emperors, farmers, slaves, traders, and conquerors. These stones have witnessed the footsteps of Julius Caesar, Hadrian's inspectors, medieval knights, and Napoleon's armies. They are silent relics of a civilization that refused to be ordinary. And what truly set Roman roads apart was their mindset. The Romans did not think in years, they thought in centuries. They built with the expectation that their structures should outlast generations. They accepted the higher cost, the massive labor, and the long timelines because they believed permanence was worth it. They believed the world should remember them, not through fragile monuments, but through infrastructure that endured. The golden milestone in the Roman Forum symbolized this vision. It was the point from which all distances were measured, a physical acknowledgement that Rome considered itself the center of the known world. And from that golden pillar, roads radiated out like rays from the sun, shining across continents. Today, as we drive along highways that still follow Roman foundations or walk ancient paths polished by centuries of footsteps, we feel something larger than history. We feel the echo of a civilization that mastered engineering, organization, and ambition like no other. A civilization that reshaped continents, not with myths or legends, but with stone, sweat, mathematics, and relentless determination. Roman roads remind us that greatness is not built through shortcuts. It is built through precision, discipline, and a refusal to compromise. Their straight lines teach us that clarity of direction creates strength. Their durability teaches us that long-term thinking is the key to legacy. Their vast network teaches us that the infrastructure we build today becomes the world we live in tomorrow. So the question remains, what other secrets of ancient civilizations are we overlooking? How many forgotten techniques, lost technologies, and abandoned ideas could still reshape our modern world? And what would we discover if we dared to look at the past not as something primitive, but as something ahead of its time? If you want to uncover more mysteries of the ancient world, from the secrets of the Egyptian pyramids to the engineering marvels of the Maya, make sure to subscribe and follow us on the journey ahead. Because every road into history, just like every Roman road, leads somewhere extraordinary.